But we hired J.J. Reach a while back. J.J. was with Jefferson County, and he ran their sex offender program, and he has been an unbelievable addition to our department as an investigator, first as an SRO, now as an investigator. And I want to read a few things that he has educated me on that have to do with the sex offender registry and how those are handled in Shelby County and in Calera. During a recent internal audit of our sex offender notification program, we discovered several ways that we can make our system better. We found offenders that had registered with the Sheriff's Department but that had not registered with the City of Calera Police Department as is required by law. We also found offenders that were registering with the Sheriff's Department who were living in areas that violate Alabama law, and we found others who listed addresses where they don't actually reside. There were also sex offenders working in Calera that didn't live in Calera, but they were working here and they were not properly registered. After learning of these deficiencies from the audit done by J.J. Reach, we started the process of personally visiting and verifying every sex offender living or working in Calera that we had information on. We've been working in conjunction with the Sheriff's Department to help them get the county-wide records up to date that have to do with the City of Calera as well. Several that we've dealt with have chosen to leave the Calera area after our visits and after we sent out community notifications. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but we will send out community notifications when a sex offender moves into an area. Now, when we discovered that some had been living in our area that we were not notified about, we sent out notifications, and some citizens were concerned because this individual may have lived there for years and they were just now getting notified. But that's part of our audit and cleaning this system up, and JJ will get into it a little further when he explains what we're doing in just a minute when I'm finished. I believe that the protection of the children and the citizens from sexual predators is too important to not do all we possibly can do to ensure compliance. It's not our plan or goal to embarrass or harass people. Prior offenders who are complying with the law are not going to be bothered at all. As long as they're in compliance, that's fine. We plan to find and hold accountable those that are not complying with the law. We have created our own custom community webpage through Offender Watch that will be linked to our Calera homepage for Calera citizens to access your sex offender data. So instead of having to go through the entire county, we're going to have our own Calera portal, which we will make sure is accurate and up to date. Our officers will require that all Calera sex offenders check in as required, and we will provide notification to neighbors when a sex offender moves into your area. Now, we've been doing that, but as I said before, there have been some that have slipped through the cracks. There's some that had registered with the Sheriff's Department that did not register here. We had some inaccurate information that we got from the Sheriff's Department. One individual had listed his home address as Walmart. And I called the manager of Walmart, and they certainly don't want a sex offender living there, so we've taken care of that problem. But we had others that were had been deceased for years that were still on the list, and if you looked on Offender Watch, you would think that this sex offender lived in your neighborhood, but we have a few that have been deceased for years. We also plan to visit and verify in person that our sex offenders are compliant. We've got a plan for doing that. We're not going to get into details about it because the visits aren't going to be announced. They're going to be surprise visits. Any that we cannot locate will be immediately turned over to the U.S. Marshal Service for apprehension. We've got several that have not been in compliance that JJ has found already, and we have gone to the District Attorney's Office requesting felony warrants for their arrest. And again, we're not trying to harass people, but if we have people that are sex offenders in our area that are not in compliance, we intend to really get a handle on this. And it's not that we weren't doing what the law required before, it's that there's a lot more that can be done than just the bare minimum. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to get JJ to show you the portal that we now have available for our citizens.
Thank you for your time. And so the Offender Watch is a computer software or software-based company. They provide services to not only the state of Alabama, including Aaliyah and Montgomery, but they also provide throughout the entire nation. I had the honor of serving on the National Advisory Board for Offender Watch for 8 years. We were able to coordinate with the U.S. Marshal Service and also Aaliyah and Montgomery to get them on board with it as well. I've done a previous audit in the past with the state of Alabama as well as Jefferson County, and those numbers were a whole lot more than what we have here. But as you can see with the Offender Watch, anyone can go to it. You go to our website, click on Police Department website, click on the link that we now have. It takes you directly to the offenders that are within your area. You can put a city, you can put a zip code, you can put your address into this system. If you put your address into this system, then those individuals, if someone moves within your neighborhood, you receive an email alert immediately as soon as we put it into the system. That's prior to notifications going out. There's a lot of restrictions as well. So through this software program, I'm able to put an address in on my end. These individuals, due to their convictions, are not allowed to live within 2,000 feet of a school or daycare. That includes home daycares and also foster homes. We've recently coordinated with DHR. We've got an updated foster home list and home daycare list from them that has been submitted to update our system as well through Offender Watch and through what DHR provided us. These individuals, again, aren't allowed to live within 2,000 feet, and that's how property line to property line, how the crow flies, and this system takes care of every bit of that for us. We're also able to put in and send out notifications through this system. When you send them a basic email, and they take care of all of our notifications. The good part now is when the notifications go out, it has our city emblem on it, and it represents our police department and the work that we do. We're a unique city because prior to this portal, it would take you just to Shelby County's website and their portal. However, we have individuals within Chilton County that are sex offenders that are within our corporate city limits. The definition of the law, it is complex, but the corporate city limits relies on if they receive city services. So they may not be technically in the city of Calera, but they receive city services, then they're required to register with the chief of police of Calera. And so we have educated all of these individuals. Every time they register and every time we go to a home to make a visit, that's a felony investigation. If you've got an individual who's been convicted of a certain crime, he's not allowed to live with children. If we go to that home and there's a child there, or there's evidence of that, then a felony investigation is conducted to see if that child can reside there or not due to his conviction. There's a whole lot more complexity to the law, but these individuals are required to come in and register every 3 months, whether they move or not. It's called a quarterly registration. If they leave the city, they're required to notify us of their move. They have 3 business days. If they move into the city, they're required to notify us within 3 business days. If they decide to go to the beach for a weekend, they are required to come in and fill out a travel permit. And I could go on and on. There is a lot to the law. Fortunately, we are able to provide all of this for our citizens now through this portal and through this website. And anybody can sign up for it. You can even, if you go on vacation and you're going to another location, you can put in that address and it'll pull up the offenders within that area as well. And just to give you an idea of the numbers that we have, if you go to our website, we have what's called active sex offenders. We have 23, all right? 23 sex offenders that are active means that full community notifications apply. They're not allowed to live within 2,000 feet of school, daycare, and they are public notifications, and they're on our website. Then you have 7 that is what's called inactive. They're required to register, but the community notifications do not apply to them. Through our audit, I found 3 individuals that was on the website that I have confirmed are deceased. We have 2 individuals that I located that's currently incarcerated, both of them on additional child pornography cases. And then also we keep up, and if someone registered with us previously and they've now relocated somewhere else, we still keep up and maintain that. They're listed as out of area. Therefore, if someone needs information on them down the road, they can access our information through this system and we've got every bit of the information in there, including what they were convicted of, the age of the victim, their case action summary, where it took place, what year. They're required to register social media with us as well, email addresses, phone numbers. Everything that they're required to do is a felony investigation if they fail to do so. Does anybody have any questions?
I want to say I appreciate the work that you've done and the whole department have done to keep our citizens safe.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I just have one.
Yes, sir.
Those regulations, you may have said that and I didn't catch it, but those, all the regulations and requirements that you just mentioned, are those for the whole state of Alabama or what Clear had it on?
No, that is strictly the state of Alabama,
Yes.
the SORNA Act, which is the Sex Offender Registration Notification Act.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
One more thing I want to point out too is that this is very labor intensive, as you can imagine. And our criminal investigative division is shorthanded and they're working their tails off and doing some great stuff. So they brought this up and started doing this themselves. But we've had this discussion before. If we don't do everything we can do and a child is assaulted, I mean, just doing the bare minimum required to be in compliance with what the state requires is not enough, and I think you would agree. So we intend to do this, and we intend to, we're going to get help for the Criminal Investigations Division. We've got some ideas about how we're going to utilize some of our other people to assist with this, but we think this is very important. And I appreciate JJ because he sat down with me and educated me on this because I didn't understand it very well at all. And I don't think any of us here at the PD did, but he's done a fantastic job, and we're blessed to have somebody with his background and expertise in this because, like I said, hopefully nothing will ever happen, but heaven forbid we don't do everything we do and a child is assaulted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On the agenda, we have resolution 2025-25,